Yes, sir. My name's Zakashi, guys, and in this video here, we're going to be going through the best ways for you to actually build Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta, the new LF, the newest unit in the game, and the first unit, part 1 of the Festival 2022. Disappointment for some, but literally gold for others. We'll be looking into how you can actually build them the best alongside the equipments, team formations, and of course things of that like. So hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this video because I'll be breaking it down for you guys to build the best team that you can. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button, man. We're on this grind to 40,000 subscribers. All my social media is going to be on the bottom of the screen. It's the YouTube channel. We've got a Twitter, Twitch, Reddit, Instagram, and a Discord link all in the description below. So make sure to check me out on all of those. I'm not going to hold you guys up any longer, man. We got to get into how you can actually build these guys, make a good team formation, best team formation, and equipments. I'm going to go through team formations first and then equipments after. So yeah, let's get into this video now. Alright, so I've got this empty team formation here and I've just got them on the leader slot just to show you. But the best thing you'd want to actually do is actually change your settings. So I like to have this at element because ideally you want to have one of every element on the team. It's not always the case, and I'm going to explain why, and specifically in this case it's not always the case, but one of every element is very, very valuable in most cases. But seeing it by element just makes it clear because it sorts them by color. So the only reason the green's at the top is because they're already in leader, but then light comes first, and then it will be blue, green, purple, yellow, red, which makes it easy to see. You also want to set it to sparkings and ultra in this case because it's the best option for the actual strongest characters. And then we're dealing with GTs, so you're going to want to actually do that because the tag 4s, Super Saiyan 4s, they come from GT. It will make you see the easiest. Now, the best team that I've found to actually use with him would be a green-green-yellow composition or a mono-green composition. Why would you say mono green when I just spoke about every other color in the game? Simply because they have this tag switch feature which allows them to reverse their element. So if you see the main ability, you can see here tag switch to Vegeta reverses on element, and then tag switch to Goku reverses on element. If you want to know what that means, it just implies that from green, where they usually do advantage to blue and disadvantage to purple, that would switch. So they'll be doing advantage to purple and disadvantage to blue, which is actually really, really good. So you basically got two elements on your team if you are using this guy. You don't just have a green, you also technically have a yellow when they switch because they're type advantage over purple, but the disadvantage doesn't work the same way. It's a reverse, not a change of element. That's the best thing to notice, which is why a team like mono green works. So I'm going to talk about the mono green team. You'd be using something like this. These three here, the three main GT guys, you put on Super 17, but I'd actually have to take off the GT option for you guys to actually get the extra Zenkai buff. You could get the Zenkai buff from Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Where is he? Hit over here. You can see these two, they Z ability and Zenkai ability buff all of these three because they're GT characters and they're Saiyan, so you don't need to focus about these guys on the bench. And if you want to just do one more thing, I'd probably go with a little HP buff. I feel like HP is a good option as well. So you can put on this guy here. He's a very good HP option if you want to use him. 22% of GT max base health, which is actually pretty dope. So then you can get HP. You're getting a triple Zenkai buff for G4 and the tag bros, which is very, very good. But you also get a HP buff for your team, which works very well for these three. So this is probably the first composition of a team that I'd actually recommend. If we're going into the second composition, so I'm going to go back to how I had it set to sparking, ultra, GT, and then I'll select all of these. I'm just going to take this guy off as well. I'm going to just reselect it so it refreshes completely with just these guys. The green-green-yellow setup that I spoke about, you'd actually be Zenkai buffing this guy. So however you want to do it, if you want to do a Super 17 or this guy full power, it works either way. It's just that this guy gives blast attack on his Z ability, which is pretty dope. You can see there, GT is saying blast attack, whereas Super 17, he actually gives defenses. Depends on which one you want to opt in for. Personally, I just like offenses. I don't really think about defenses. People die pretty much the same, but there are a difference. There's a big difference when you have the defenses, but I think because you're getting Zenkai buff, I wouldn't recommend the extra defenses. I just go for the offenses. So I'd actually put G4 first because he's going to be a green-green. The full power actually Zenkai buffs both of these guys because they are a green, and what does his Zenkai ability say? GT. With it, even if it said saying it'd work. And then what I've been using is actually the 4Q because he's the most recent LF Zenkai, and he is actually a very good option for a last stand unit because his ultimate is insane, and he comes with 2 cover changes if you're running him with a GT member. So if we actually look at his cover change, +1 to amount special cover change, which is pretty dope. And he already comes with 1, which is fire. So that's just a good thing to note overall. He has 1, but he can have 2 if you're using it with a GT member. So just point that out, just to point that out. I'd also Zenkai buff this 4Q here because I don't want him to fall off. But if you really wanted to, you could just put Super 17 and go for the double Zenkai buff for these 2 and ignore 4Q. That's up to you completely. And then if you want to finish off the squad, you could easily just go for a Zenkai buff. You could bring a blue if you don't feel safe. You don't necessarily need to because the green, yellow counts pretty much every team in the game right now, especially specifically the hybrid Saiyan setup because it runs off of blue, even though Beast Gohan goes type neutral. The yellow, Future Gohan, and then the red Pan, there's literally no disadvantages against those unless when you type reverse with this guy. I guess this guy as well against the Pan, but that's why you've got 2 greens and not just multiple yellows. But again, if you want to end off the option, you could also use the 17. The 17 is a good support, but I feel like the green options are way better with the Zenkai buffs. And one thing that's really good to notice is that this 4Q, he actually buffs the team when he faces enemies. So if I can go through where it is, I believe it's in one of these. Yep, here it is. The following effects occur every time when faced with an enemy. So you can see 15% damage inflicted by allies. So just starting with him, you give 15%. If the enemy switches out, you're getting another 15% for the team. It's pretty valuable overall, and I do recommend it as an option. But again, if we're just gonna pretty much end it out, you could also go for that other Zenkai buff that I mentioned earlier. So if I go to Sparking again, and then Super Saiyan 3 Goku, where is he? Where is he? There he is. So then you're actually triple Zenkai buffing these 2, not worried about the yellow, but the yellow is another option just so you're not running a full color wheel. But again, if you wanted to as well, you could take off one of the Zenkai buffs and then opt in for a HP buff as well, which is this kid here, the Goku, that's an EX. He actually has the HP 22%. And then you could take off, ideally I'd suggest one of these 2, so Super Saiyan 3 or this GT guy, because they both have defensive Z abilities. This guy has base strike and blast defense 35%, which I think is actually better than Super Saiyan 3's Z ability, 33%, yeah. So if I'm going to take one off, I'd take off Super Saiyan 3 so I can get the better Z ability here, and that would actually all aim towards actually working with the tag bros. So that would be the best GT composition I would build. I wouldn't opt into building it strike based. I'd definitely go, blast based. I'd definitely go with the strike based because they are a melee type. You can see their stats, they do more strike damage overall. If you display maximum stats, you can see it's more strike damage. So you should build what they're most optimal in. So yeah, there are some blast based units that are actually good with GT. So let me bring this back up and then add the GT tag again. For example, this guy here, I wouldn't recommend using him, but he can be good blast base. Super Baby 2 does some good blast damage. The new free-to-play Goku is actually really insane with blast damage. But if I'm talking about a team that's going to last long, definitely the green, yellow, or the mono green, because the green on the tag switch allows them to reverse it, and that gives you basically another element. But this is what I'd build if I'm building GT. I wouldn't go any other way, honestly. The green, yellow is what I've been using. But I would also advise that mono green is as valuable, if not more. And it, like, not gonna lie, those 2 are the top dogs. They're gonna shine more than anything else. You don't necessarily need a blue because you're just gonna be looking like a victim against tag bros and G4s, literally, honestly. But you could also put Super Baby 2 as a support. I would recommend that if you really want to actually just bring the extra layer of support. I don't think he's the best personally, but the health restoration is insane for the tag bro switching. So don't ignore that. Just because I said they would get destroyed, you could do damage against a couple pans that you catch lacking and things like that. So I'm not gonna just count this guy out. You could have him there as just an extra layer, because the tag bros really do a lot with their healing, which is actually very, very good. So just to point out, 20%, you're doubling that, 15% on 50% on top, so you half that and then add it on top, so that's 30% now. Pretty much valid. That's everything I talk about with GT. Nobody else really stands out to actually make a composition, but the mono green layout, the green, yellow, and then if you want to add Super Baby 2, you can, and then you can switch in HP buffs depending on how you want to go about playing PvP. Now, I'm only going to mention this because Beast Gohan was actually such a valid unit for a long time, but this team might not have as much longevity, but I will mention it simply because it's going to be a team that's going to pop up as Beast Han is very valuable, as is Pan. So if you're wondering if you want to build a Sun family build, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to change it from GT, and then hopefully my eyes work and find the Sun family tag. There it is. Do the same thing there, and then change the thing. You're going to want to build a Sun family joint. So you're going to have the tag bros obviously on the leader slot. And I'd say the best thing to do is just use the setup that everybody's been using, which is the Beast, Han, and Pan. So if we just scroll down, you can see this is the main three for Sun family. And then what I'd advise you doing is not actually building towards the tag bros. You build towards everybody else on the team. Reason is because the tag bros are boosted anyways at that time I'm making this video anyways. But the Z abilities wouldn't work especially well for Sun family. So I would actually just advise building it the one way. So if you want, you could Zenkai buff Pan. I wouldn't advise doing so, even though this is a valid Zenkai buff because it's red and sagas from the movies. I would actually go for just the Beast Han specifics. So I'd bring this girl, even though she's GT, so it actually works with this guy here. You could Zenkai buff Beast Han, of course, because the Zenkai ability is blue and Sun family. That's standard. If you want to go for something else that's actually pretty valuable for this team, I would recommend Future Han just for a layer of security. But you're probably not going to use him because you have the tag bros. You also have the thing in their kit where if they get rushed, lower sub counts, you could just bring in Beast Han. Beast Han gets that endurance layer. It's so foolproof. You wouldn't really need Future Gohan unless you get rushed with Pan inside. And even then, she's the unit you're going to want to sack because she doesn't do as much damage as these two blatantly. So Future Han's just an extra layer of security if you really wanted to have him there, but you don't have to. But really and truly, as it is right now, I think this is pretty solid. If you want to go for the extra layer of movies buff for this guy, you can, but it doesn't buff Pan. Want to point that out. So if it was me, just to be safe, I'd probably go with a HP buff. That could work. Or I'd actually go for just Zenkai buffing Pan, because obviously she's going to be a main 3 on this team. With my stars, I just go for the Zenkai buff. I wouldn't really see the HP as valuable, but somebody with lower stars might see it as more valuable because it would stand out. Even then, you could even double Zenkai buff Pan, but why would you do that? Especially with this guy being blast based, it's not something I would recommend at all. Definitely wouldn't, especially because this team is already very strike based. So yeah, I'd probably just opt in for HP buff, or you could look for somebody with a good hybrid ability, such as the Trunks is what everybody uses. So if I take this off, actually I can just turn it to hybrid thing because I just saw it there. This Trunks here from the movies, if we go to his Z ability, it's actually very good. 35% to episode sugs from the movies, or hybrid saying based strike attack and defense, and 80% for both of those. So you can see it's quite a hefty Z ability, and it applies to everybody there. If I put that on, you can see that these two eat off that, but so does this guy. If I go to details, because he's in a leader slot option, you can see that he actually eats off the Trunks. So here you can see the Z ability comes in, leader slot select as a battle member will activate even if his character does not meet the necessary conditions. If this is a Sun family build, I'd go with this joint. But if you really want to just try something very new, I don't see this team having a lot of longevity. But a lot of people might want to bring this out the hat. You could go for like a mono purple green build. I wouldn't advise for this, but I'm just going to bring it out just for sake. So I'm going to take off all the tags, turn on Saiyan on Ultra. I'm going to take all these guys off, right? I feel like this combination could have potential, and a lot of people are interested in Blue Bros. So turn on the Blue Bros option, obviously. And with this option, it actually gives you room to actually Zenkai buff the tag. You see how that works? And then if you want the extra layer of security and you're just forcing it, you could go for Revival Gohan there. And then these guys share the same Zenkai buffs for the most part. So you can see one there. And then if you grab the Goten, that's another one there. If you really want to just be safe, I wouldn't advise doing so because the Z abilities out here don't exactly mesh. I was going to suggest taking this guy off leader slot, but I wouldn't do that because of this guy's Z abilities. If we look at them, you can see it's Saiyan and GT, pretty much it doesn't change at all. So keep them on the leader slot, you'd be good with that. Zenkai buff, these two double Zenkai buff, give him a singular Zenkai buff. They probably don't need the Zenkai buff because they'll be actually in the leader slot. So even if you then wanted to just ignore that, you could actually opt in for somebody else. Even add Saiyan Z abilities. So in this case, let me actually move the things around. I'll actually put Rev Han on leader because he's kind of the odd one out of the main units. So let me find Revhon. My eyes are not working. Yeah, take off Revhon. Then you take off this Z ability, and you can keep this one on because it's a Sun family one if you want to. And then what you'd opt in to actually do is to actually get a Saiyan Zenkai buff. So because these two are Saiyans, because this would work as well. You could also use this guy, works very well, but his Z ability is a bit weaker than Goten's for sure, so I'd probably keep Goten on. But I'm just showing you guys the options that you could have if you wanted to build like a tag switch unit. These are tag switches, so these do advantage over greens, they'll do advantage over the tag 4s if you're in that scenario, but they also will be weak against yellows until they reverse. If we're looking at the game right now, the only strong yellow really is Future Gohan on that Beast Gohan setup. So this could be an option that you tag in for. And a Revival Gohan obviously has a good support there. His main ability is actually solid before, and he actually does a lot of damage, so he can actually restores allies health by 20%, damage inflicted. Really good boss for the team. Really just showing you every option that you could build. I wouldn't opt in for this one necessarily. I'd say obviously the Beast Han setup is definitely better, but I'm just showing you if you're really trying to build something, you could go for this as well, because you can actually do something with this. But yeah, that's the second team I'd actually opt in for, and I wouldn't use any of the team out of these two. And I also just want to point out, for Sun if you're using Sun family, you lose out on a Z ability. I mean a unique ability. It says also applies the following effects to self if there's the via GT or Saiyan. You lose out on that 15% HP and the damage inflicted, because you're not going to be using him on a team necessarily with Saiyans if you're going for the first Sun family build with Beast Han. But if this one, if you use them with Blue Bros, there'll be a Saiyan, so you will get the 15%. Let me just check that it didn't say 2, because I'll be looking goofy right there. Yeah, if there's one defeated GT or Saiyan, so if Blue Bros die, you get the 15%, which is pretty solid. But yeah, that's going to be the end with that. Alright, so the last thing we got to touch on for this video is the actual best equips that you can actually place on the tag 4s, because equips are going to be the thing that really make your team what it is. So if we actually look at them, you know that they're not a main ability ultimate type unit. They have a tag switch, so there's no ultimate art, so you shouldn't really think about ultimate damage at all. You shouldn't. It's not something that's going to even have a tiny bit of an effect, because they don't have an ultimate art. You should be aiming to actually max out their blue card, especially because of how their kit works. They do more damage based on their blue card damage. You can see special move based on how many cards they have. So if you destroy those cards, they do more blue card damage. That would be good. And you also get the restore. So the blue card is extremely valuable overall. They have a lot of special move damage in their kit, and they also have a lot of damage cut, damage inflicted. It's good. It's all good. So if we're actually looking at equips, I'm gonna like cut between the equips that you should use. The first one I recommend is this one here. You can see it says awaken these times were dark enough without you, number 1. You can see it does special moves 12.5%. You get strike attack. You also get strike attack on the second slot, so you can get 13% on the second slot and 12% on the first slot. That would make 25% in total, and you can also get 12.5% health. I'm ignoring the ultimate damage, like I said, because it doesn't have a factor. But everything else in this equip just makes it one of the best equips you can get, and you can get it through this section here in the Zenkai Ultra Space Time Rush shop if you want to actually get the awakening. But there is an unawakened version which only does 10% and you only get the health, so you miss out on the strike, which is why you must get the awakened version. If you want to get the regular one for the awakening, here's how you get them: the Z medal shop and the equipment medals. The next equipment I recommend is Righteous Saiyans. It's very, very valuable because you can actually build your own equip. I call it the build your own equipment, because you can actually select what you want, and this fits on only Saiyans. Basically, the majority of the game is Saiyans. So you can see how valuable this equip is. And if I show you the first slot, it maxes out 13%. But like I said, it's the build your own equip. So you can actually pick what slot you want. You definitely want to go for strike. It's not the easiest to roll, but if you get the first slot to strike, that's good. The second slot, you want to go for strike again. It goes up to 20% this time instead of the 13, and you want to go for strike again. And the third slot, like I said, you want to opt in for special move. But if you want, you could opt in for health restoration, but health restoration is not going to win you the game necessarily. You want to be doing damage, and because I said his blue card is especially valuable, you want to go for this one. If you want to get this equip, you get it in the exchange shop. Righteous Saiyans, very valuable. Invest into it. This one here is a serious GT equip, and it's not easy to roll at all, but it's one I definitely do recommend. You can get 10% special move, but the 38% strike attack, one of the highest in the game on an equip, 38% high strike attack at the base being 20% is already better than most equips, not gonna lie, just the base being 20%. So you're good if you actually get this equip. Definitely advise you actually grind this awakened equip. You can see here it also does some key recovery and strike defense, which is very, very good. But the special move, like I said, you want to build that effectively. So this is another one I'd recommend if you want to get the awakening. It's in the Zenkai Rush Medal shop. But if you want to actually find the original, the awakened, you've gone too far. You can go to the equipment here, go to archive, and then I believe what you want to do is actually set it to GT. There you go. Take it off uniques. Come on, man. And then you see it here. This is the unawakened version. I wouldn't recommend it. Just definitely go for the awakened version. But it does give you 22% strike, but you could opt in for something better. It's the special move that gets added to it in the awakening that makes it good, and you can get it from the equipment medal shop. This one here can be pretty valuable as well. It's all up to my fist because there's special move and ultimate damage on it. And you can see there's the Vanish Gauge recovery, and we already spoke about the blue card. When you pop it, depending on how many cards you destroy, you get Vanish Gauge recovery and you do special move damage. It literally gives you 15%, which is higher than most equips. You get some defenses out of it, but the Vanish Gauge recovery is in addition in case you don't have the full free cards to get your 100% back up. And how to get it, you can get the Turtle Medal Gold shop for the Legends Road Goku, and you can get it in the Equipment Medal Exchange shop. If you're running them on a Sun family variant and you actually want to focus on the strike attack, you could actually add this equip here. You get 5% to each strike attack per Sun family battle member. So literally you'd be getting 15% pure. If you don't know how this works, it's a little different from normal equips. So you can see this says 5% to strike attack. Notice the keyword base is missing. If you go to any other regular equip like I showed you before, any other equip actually, you can see it says base strike attack here. You would never get regular strike attack at this high of a percentage because it will be literally broken. So without the base, it's a multiplier. With the base, it's just addition, which is a lot less. But to get the multiplier to be large, you obviously need to have a high base number. So you want to add a lot of base through the Zenkai buffs and things like that. Then you add on a pure equipment, which is one of these, and then you'd actually multiply that very well. So this is another one I'd recommend if you're running on Sun family. This one here is good, but I wouldn't recommend you actually grinding it, but you kind of get a variety. So you get 20% strike here, you can see, and you can get up to 28% blast attack, but there's also strike here, so you can get 30% strike in total, and you also get special move damage. But this is for Vegeta and melee types. So if you're a Vegeta clan member, you probably have it already, but grinding this specific equip when it doesn't fit on many people you'd probably use isn't the best. How you get it, you get it in the Zenkai Rush Medal shop. That's for the awakening. And if you want the unawakened version to actually grind it, I found it here, Vegeta's Anger. It's just for Vegeta specifically, so it didn't come up for the Vegeta clan because it doesn't work on Trunks'. But you can find it in the Z Medal shop and the Equipment Medal shop if you want to go grind for it. Now this equipment here I do not recommend, but I want to bring it up because there's been a lot of controversy around it and it has pure on both offenses. Now this equipment I do not recommend using. However, if you plan to use the tag 4s as a unit that you're going to sack off, they're good. But that would defeat the purpose in their unique ability. And why I say that is because this equipment only works, so you see the pure blast and the pure strike, which you can get up to 10% on both offenses, and it also gives you some of the base on both defenses, sorry, as well. The reason why I wouldn't recommend this equip is because it only works when there are 3 remaining GT battle members, so you're locked into GT for 1, and you have to actually keep all of them alive. As soon as one of them dies, you lose out. This wouldn't be effective because his kit is literally rush proof, their kit rather. So when you get rushed, it's meant to reduce the sub counts by 10, so you literally can switch out. And on top of that, you're meant to get benefits when a Saiyan or GT member is dead. So why would you want to sack this guy? If I want to just point this out though, you probably want to run this on somebody else on your GT team to get the advantages off it. But for some reason, if you want to sack them, like if the enemy rushes and you want somebody to die and it's going to be these guys, this equip would actually have value. Outside of that, no. But yeah, man, that's going to wrap up the video. Hopefully this video was informative. Tried my best to really give you pure insight on how you should actually think about forming teams, so I can give you all the options, and depending on how you want to go about it, you can, but also showed you how I'd use it. The green yellow shelp is my go-to, but of course it depends on what you want to do with your character books as well. This all RNG factor, and depending on what you summon for, you would actually have a higher star level on certain things and other things and whatnot. So yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button, man. We're on this grind to 40,000 subscribers. Definitely press that red button, man. It shows me the support on the channel, and especially if this video was useful to you, I've got more content that I can provide for you. So helps me help you, help me. It goes both ways. All my social media is going to be on the bottom of the screen. This is the YouTube channel. We've got Twitter, Twitch, Reddit, Instagram, and a Discord link all in the description below. So make sure to check me out on all of those. But yeah, I'm going to leave the video like that, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.